Hey everybody, this video is part 2 of my Frostgrave 2nd edition battle in the Summoning Bell scenario. Hey everybody, I'm Alan with Bricks and Blocks Gaming, and this video is the conclusion of my 3rd battle for my Frostgrave 2nd edition campaign. When we left off in the last battle at the Summoning Bell, we saw King Arthur recently get slain by a bear, while his Knights of the Round Table were trying to climb up a tower to destroy a beehive to hopefully find the Holy Grail. Velius the Summoner, meanwhile, was seeing his forces slowly get depleted and spread around the battlefield, and now he's just hoping he can get to some of the treasure tokens to get them off the board before getting overrun by monsters. So, can the Apprentice, Sir Bedivere, lead the remaining Knights of the Round Table to prevail in their quest? Or will Velius and Celia put an end to their hopes and dreams? Let's get to the bricks and blocks of the last half of Frostgrave's 2nd edition's The Summoning Bell. We'll roll initiative for the next round. We've got 10 against 15, so King Arthur's Knights of the Round are going first. And since King Arthur over here has fallen in combat, we will jump right over to Velius's wizard phase, and he is going to get out of the open here, over to here, and from right there he is going to attempt to cast Summon Demon. He casts this on an 11, 18, that's successful. He passed that by 7, and if he passes by more than 5, instead of his Shadow Imp, he will get a Shadow Warrior that will pop up next to him. So we'll put him right here. That counts as a minor demon. Then we'll jump over to Sir Bedivere's turn, and he's just going to drop a grenade right down here between the bear and the thug. He casts this on an 11, 8. He's still at 8 health, so he will empower that for 3. So it's successful, and he's just barely not wounded. With the target point being right between those two, it's got an 1.5 inch radius, so it can hit both those guys. So starting with the thug. Thug is a +2 against a +3 shooting attack. We've got, that's only a 5 for the grenade, so that is defended. And then for the bear, it's a +4 for the bear. It's a 17, so that does injure the bear. He's got 12 armor, so 5 damage on the bear. Then Sir Bedivere will stay up top here, but he's going to run over here to find some cover from the view of the random monsters. Then over here to Celia, the Apprentice. She is going to attempt to cast Heal on Velius. She's about 5 inches away, and that is a 6-inch range spell now. She casts this on a 12 with a -2. 18, that's successful. Velius gains 5 health. Then she will just move over here. Moving to the soldier phase, King Arthur's going to, well, he's not going to tell anybody to do anything because he's laying on the ground, but his thief, Patsy, here is going to run over here. He can't get off the board, but he can get to right there on a double move. And actually, he's going to move over here. There's no chance of monsters spawning in the corner, and that way, if the Black Knight falls, the boar can't see him. The Black Knight will stay where he's at and just let the boar attack him. Then we'll go over here to Brave Sir Robin. Now that he's got that potion of speed, elixir of speed, he's got enough move to get off the board on a double move. So that secures their first treasure, and then we're going to go over here to the middle of the board. We'll have Tim fire an arrow straight down on the head of that man-at-arms that's down there by that ladder. +2 shot against +3 defense. The arrow misses. Then Tim is going to run down here and get next to the man-at-arms to engage him. Well, that's a bit crowded down there, but they're down there, and now this rabbit is going to run down there. Normally all their soldiers just want to go for the grail, but the rabbit is out for blood, so he will attack the man-at-arms with support. So the possessed rabbit with support is +7 against the man-at-arms +3. So he wins the combat, but doesn't deal any damage. Next, everything's kind of a jumbled mess in here, but Sir Galahad can kind of get up this ladder, get up here, and he's going to hop over to here and use his second action to try to stop that summoning bell, the summoning beehive. So this is a will roll against a target number 16. He's got a +1 to this. Hey, he got a 17. So the honeycomb is destroyed, as is everything else there. And now figures are free to pick that treasure token up. Sir Lancelot is wounded, so he's left to just one move. So he's going to climb down here and then move to right here to stop any foes that might try to come past him to get to that potential Holy Grail. Then down here, Brave Sir Robin's Minstrel will attack this thug. In the first edition, any figure carrying a treasure was not only slowed but also encumbered, causing them to have -1 to their fight stat. But in second edition, characters, if they're only carrying a dagger or hand weapons, nothing else, they are not encumbered, so he does not get the -1 fight penalty that he would have had in the first edition. So these are two thugs, +2 versus +2. We got 3 against, that's a total of 13 for King Arthur's Minstrel. So that is 3 damage dealt to Velius' thug. Now we're going over to Velius' soldier phase. He'll start by having this new Shadow Warrior come over here and engage the Minstrel. And he will attack with support. Minor demons are fight +3. So with support, +5 against +2 for the Minstrel. And of course, the Minstrel gets a 21 total. After double checking their stats, these guys have 11 armor, so that 21 causes 10 points of damage, and the Minstrel will push it out of combat. And now we'll have the Thief attack, 2 versus 2. And that is a 14 for the Minstrel. That's 4 more damage on that thug, and he is wounded. So that Minstrel really showing his strengths in this battle like he did the last one by injuring 2 figures there. Next we'll jump up here to this Marksman. He is going to pick up this treasure with 1 action, then come over here and drop down with his second. And now over to here, this thug and this bear. They are going to run over here to try to stop Patsy. They can only get to right about here, but if they win the initiative roll next turn, they can potentially get to Patsy before he escapes with that treasure. So on their double moves, they can get right over here where they're out of view of that gorilla, and we'll see what happens next turn. For the creature phase, the highest health enemy is this white gorilla over here, and the only figure it can see is Sir Galahad. You can just barely see his head right there, so he's going to move towards Sir Galahad. The gorilla's straight shot to Sir Galahad would lead him to come over here and climb this wall, but I'm going to say that they'll instead take the easiest path, which would be to climb up these stairs. So its first move, after it climbs out of that rubble, would get it right to the top of these stairs. And from there, it can see now both Sir Lancelot and the Black Knight. And it's about the same distance from both of those, but its head is closer to Sir Lancelot, and that's where its eyes are. So we'll say it moves its last 3 inches towards Sir Lancelot. Then we'll go down here to this boar that will attack the Black Knight. The boar is a +2, the knight is a +1. That's a 8 to 12. So that does not get past the boar's armor, but the knight will, it'll push it out of combat. And actually it won't bother because the boar could then just use its second action to move back into combat. Then while I'm over here, I'm going to go ahead and move this skeleton, and it can see the Black Knight, and it is going to do a double move. It's got to climb up this, but still that gives it enough move to get right to the Black Knight on a double move. I thought about having the Black Knight push back, but the skeleton still could have got to him. Then going around the table over here to this Ice Toad, it can't see anybody, but its random move of 4 inches will put it right there, and then it still can't. Well, I was going to say it couldn't see anybody, but it can just barely see Sir Bedivere, so it will do its second move, 2 inches towards the staircase. Next, over to these 2 wolves. They can't see anybody, and they're just going to move over here to this corner. and they'll hang out there. Next, we'll jump over here to this ice spider that's down there. You can't see anybody, and it is going to random move against that wall. This armed skeleton can't see anybody, and he is going to random move this way to right there. This ice spider up here can actually see that marksman now, and it can scurry around that side and get to him on a double move. And this rat down here will make a random move just right where it's at. It's going to move straight back, so it is going to do nothing. I believe all the monsters have gone, and since the summoning bell has been destroyed, or the beehive, we'll only be rolling one random monster to appear at the end of this turn. So we've got 12 across and 3 down. That's a level 1. We have an armored skeleton, and he is going to show up on edge 11, which will be right here. The armored skeleton is right there, and then we need to roll to find out if that wall down there is going to disappear. And it will disappear on a 1 to a 4. A 10, that's still up there. That's very helpful for Velius. I'm going to do my initiative roll next, and this is going to really determine what's going to happen over here. So we'll see who goes first. We've got 8 to 15, so Velius' team is going first, which means during the soldier phase they can potentially get to Patsy before he escapes. To start off the round, Velius over here is going to activate with his Shadow Warrior, and he's going to start by casting Leap on this thug to try to get him out of combat. Velius casts this on an 8. 7, he'll empower that for 1. Figures carrying treasure can only be leapt 5 inches, but that will allow him to jump over this terrain and end up right there by that dead skeleton. Velius will then run over here, right in front of that thug, and then he's going to have this wounded Shadow Warrior engage the minstrel, so the minstrel can't come at his treasure carrier, hopefully. For the Apprentice phase, and over here to Sir Bedivere, he wants to make sure there's a clear path for his knights to escape by, so he's going to launch a grenade down here at that ice toad. He casts this on a 11 with a -2. It's a 9, so he will empower that for 2. That'll put him down to 6 health. This is a +3 shooting attack against a +2 defense. That's only an 8, and the ice toad defends that. He will then run over here so that he is out of view of that ice toad, so it might run off somewhere else. For Celia's Apprentice phase, she wants to get that marksman out of there, so she's going to try to cast Leap on him. She casts on an 8 with a -2. That's a miss by 7. She doesn't have anything to lose, so she'll empower that for 7, bringing her down to 2. And that's going to bring him over here. He can only go 5 inches to right over here, and then he'll drop down the rest of the way. It's not far enough to take damage, but he's out of sight of that ice spider. And I double checked to make sure Celia is, and since it's so low to the ground, it cannot see her from where it's at. For the soldier phase, the marksman and this thug over here both had Leap cast on them, so they are not allowed to do any further actions this turn, so they're done. That Shadow Warrior already activated, so we'll jump over here to this. We're going to have the thug run into combat right there, but he will not attack because they don't want him to die because he's the only treasure carrier over here. And then the bear will run in front of Patsy and attack with support. The bear is a +6 against Patsy's +1 as a thief. That is a 23 against 17. That's +2 damage. That 15 is plenty to take him down. And their strategy, their plan worked. The man-at-arms that's in this tower is just going to stand there and try to keep these guys busy and do nothing. So we're on to the Knights of the Round Table. We'll start out by having Sir Galahad pick up this treasure finally, and he's just going to hop down here. And then into the tower, we will have the rabbit attack with support. It's a +7 against the man-at-arms +3. And the man-at-arms just got a 20, and he does +2 damage. So that's a total of 22. The rabbit, even with possess, only has 11 armor. That's 11 damage. It is defeated. So we'll just knock it off the tower. And then Tim the Enchanter is just going to stay in combat. He's not going to attack because he wants Sir Galahad to escape. And we will have Sir Lancelot. He can run up here on a single move, climb the ladder and engage the man-at-arms. He's wounded, so he can take no further actions. And then down here we'll have MVP Minstrel attack the Shadow Warrior. Wounded figures have a -2 to all die rolls, so the Shadow Warrior is a +1 against the Minstrel's +2. The Shadow Warrior still wins. It's a 16. That is 6 damage on the Minstrel. That makes the Minstrel now also wounded, and the Shadow Warrior will choose to stay in combat. At this point, the Knights of the Round Table want this Black Knight to die to make these monsters possibly end up over here. So it's going to go ahead and attack the Boar. The Black Knight is a +1 against the Boar's +4 with support. And that is a 13 for the Boar. The Knight has 12 armor, so that's only 1 damage to him, and so he's still in combat. And now it's the monster phase, so this Boar will attack the Black Knight. So same thing, +4 against +1. All right, we got 18 versus 15. So that 18 against 12 armor, that's 6 damage. The Boar was down to 5 health, so it goes down. That gives him some experience points at least. And we'll just go ahead and have this skeleton attack here. It won't really affect anything else. Doing this out of order. Skeleton is a +1. The Knight is a +1. That's no damage to either, so they're still in combat. I'll have this Ice Toad go next. It can't see anybody, so its random move is going to put it here. But then from there, he can see Sir Bedivere, so he's going to move 2 inches back. Then over to these 2 wolves that have done nothing this whole game. They'll randomly move over here. Right there. Then this rat over here rolled the exact opposite way it did last time and is going to come right over here into this mud. And it still can't see anybody, so it won't double move. This armored skeleton rolled to go right into the wall there. And that ice spider back there rolled to go further into the corner. And this one's bad news. It rolled to go straight this way, which will put it right down here next to Celia, and will be in combat, so it will attack her. I wasn't expecting her to get into combat, but she's wounded, so she has a -2 to her roll against the ice spider's +1. She got a 15 though, against 7. And she got lucky because ice spiders only have 8 armor and 4 health, so she defeats that and earns herself some experience points. And then for this armored skeleton that popped up last turn, he actually rolled to just walk further into the edge here. So that's all the monsters. And I almost forgot about this gorilla here, who wants to slide down. It can run across all this stuff, up this ladder, and it's going to end up probably engaged with Sir Lancelot. Well, actually, probably the man-at-arms, that'd be the first person it would run into. That would be on a double move, and it ran up there because it saw Galahad. For the end of the round, we'll see if that wall disappears on a 1 through a 4, and it is fine, just barely. We'll see which monster pops up. We've got, that's a level 1, and that's another skeleton, a 1 and 1. It's going to show up on edge 16. Velius' team did not want to see a monster pop up there because that's exactly where they're trying to go with this treasure. But we'll roll for initiative for the next round. We've got 6 to 11, so Velius is going first. So to start out with Velius' turn, he is going to activate with this thug, and the thug's going to start out by moving down here, and it can go 3 inches on a single move. It is wounded and encumbered, and slowed, so that's as far as he can go. Then Velius is going to run down here, and he will attempt to cast Leap on that thug. Casting on an 8. He got it. That will put him right over here by the edge. He'll put him right there, so he's got some back cover. Then over here to Celia, she is going to activate with this Marksman. The Marksman is going to run right down here. He can only move 3.5 on a double move because of his heavy armor. Then Celia will activate. She can only make 1 action, so she'll move to right there. She's wounded. And then for Sir Bedivere, he's going to run right out here back onto this ledge. And from there, he's going to launch a grenade over here to see if he can stop these two from escaping. He can just barely see this spot right there. Just making sure he can see that point. So yep, right between the thug and the bear. So casting on an 11 with a -2. He got it. This will be first against the thug. The thug is a +2 against +3 shoot. Oh wow, that is a critical hit against that thug. So that was a lucky grenade there to take him down. The bear can't pick up treasure, but let's see if the bear takes damage from the grenade also. +3 against +4. No damage to the bear. And now for the soldier phase. The bear hasn't activated, but it can't pick this treasure up. So it's just going to kind of move over here by the treasure to guard it so that if this Black Knight gets free, it cannot take it. And then we'll move to the Knights of the Round Table's soldier phase, and we'll go ahead and see what happens right here. The Black Knight will attack the skeleton. +1 against +1. And the skeleton one, that is 3 damage on the Black Knight. Next, we'll go into this bell tower here. The barbarian Lancelot will attack. He is -2 for being wounded, but he's supported by both Tim and the gorilla there. So he's a +6. Against the man-at-arms, +3. That is 23 +2 damage. That man-at-arms goes down. Well, this area in here continues to be totally messy, so I'll put the man-at-arms down there. Tim is going to go ahead and shoot at the white gorilla. That's a +2 shoot against +4 defense. That's a 19 against 12 armor. That is 7 damage. And then Tim's going to go ahead and engage the ape, or gorilla, and that way it can't try to stop Sir Galahad from escaping. Sir Galahad will then double move over to here, to right there. And then the minstrel down here is going to see if he can finish off this shadow imp. Plus, these soldiers are both wounded, so -1 against -1. That was actually a +0 against +1, but either way, that misses. Now to the monster phase. We'll start in the middle. The gorilla is engaged with Tim, so Tim will attack, or it will attack Tim. So this is a +1 for Tim against +4 for the gorilla. The gorilla got a 21 against 19. It deals +2 damage, so that'd be 23 against 11, but Tim is carrying a staff, so that's -1 damage, so he's down to 1. Next, this ice toad can now see Sir Bedivere, so it will run up here on a double move. These wolves down here continue to be useless, and they're going to run down here. That spider continues to hang out back in that little cave. Right up front here, this armored skeleton is going to run over to here, and then its turn there. We'll have this skeleton here attack the Black Knight. These guys are +1 against +1. 4 for the Black Knight and 4 for the skeleton, so no damage. Then over to this side, this skeleton will run over here, and once it gets to here, the Marksman will choose to snap into combat. I was going to have Celia engage also, but she would get attacked because she's got the least hit points. So the skeleton will attack the Marksman. The skeleton is a +1 against the Marksman's +2. And actually, the Marksman had -1 to that because he's carrying treasure. But the skeleton still wins with 14. That is 2 damage on the Marksman. End of the round, we'll see if that wall disappears. It's still there. We'll see what monster shows up. We've got a 13 down, 14 across. That is a level 2. 13 down is 2 wolves. Let's see if these wolves are any more useful. And they'll show up on edge. 18, that is bad news. So they show up right there, and we'll roll for initiative for the next round. 12 to 12, re-roll. All right, decided victory on initiative there for the Knights of the Round Table. Velius is the only wizard on the board, so he'll activate with the thug. The thug will secure this treasure, and then Velius will run over here and cast Wall. Casting on a 12. Failure by 9. He would die if he empowered that. Well, if he doesn't empower that, these two wolves are going to come in and crush him anyway. So he's going to go ahead and empower that by 9, taking himself out of the battle. And then boxing those wolves in completely with this wall. See if that stays. Sir Bedivere over here will launch another grenade on an 11 with a -2. He'll go ahead and empower that. That's going to put him down to 4. +3 against +2. That's 15 against 15 with a shooting attack. Ties do no damage. And since Sir Bedivere is now wounded, he only gets 1 action, so he'll have to wait there. Alright, I just made that wall stand up a little bit better of where it's actually supposed to be. So now Celia is going to activate with this Marksman and run over here to engage the skeleton. Then the Marksman will attack with support. So this is a +4 against the skeleton's +1. We've got 21 against 6, so that skeleton goes down. And I guess the Marksman hasn't moved yet, so he will make a giant 2.5-inch move over to here with his treasure token. For the soldier phase, for the Knights of the Round Table, we'll start with the minstrel there attacking the shadow warrior. Both those figures are wounded. So that puts the minstrel at +0 and the shadow warrior at +1. And that is a critical hit. That minstrel is a beast. And he has to wait there because he has only 1 action. Next, we'll jump over here to the Black Knight attacking the skeleton. It's +1 against +1. And that skeleton got an 18 against 12 armor. That's 6 damage. That means the Black Knight has sustained at least a flesh wound. Up in the tower, Tim is engaged with the gorilla and Sir Lancelot. He's wounded. He's just going to run over here to this side to engage, but that's all he can do. And then Tim will attack with support, but he's wounded, so he'll have a total of +1 against +4. We've got 18 for the gorilla against 12. Tim essentially has 12 armor with his staff and light armor, but the gorilla deals +2 damage for a total of 8 damage against Tim. He was only at 1 health, so that's more than enough to take him down. Then we'll jump over here to Sir Galahad. Without really many other options, this ice toad's blocking his path. He's going to come down here, and on the double move, he'll essentially be on top of it. So we'll just put him there. For Velius' soldiers, this might not be a smart move, but they're going to do it anyway. Try to get a few more experience. This bear is going to run over and attack this skeleton. There's no sense of it guarding that treasure token now. And so that is going to be a +4 against the +1. Alright, it got a 16 against 15, so it wins +2 damage. That is more than enough to take out that skeleton, giving Velius 5 extra experience points. For the monster phase, I'm just going to start with the monsters that are in combat. So this gorilla is going to attack Sir Lancelot. The gorilla is +4 against +2 for the wounded Lancelot. And that is a dead Lancelot again. He's fallen in both of his battles so far. Next, we'll jump over here to Sir Galahad, who has valiantly jumped on top of this ice toad. That's going to be a +2 against +2. And that is not good. That is a 16 for that ice toad, and it deals double damage. So he's got armor 12, so that would be 4 damage, times 2 is 8, which leaves him wounded. And then for the rest of the monsters, I'll just move them all kind of around the table. He's going to random move to there. The other armored skeleton towards the middle of the board is just going to run forward to there. This rat rolled to just go right back to where he started. These wolves continuing their quest of doing nothing. Going to run down here. The spider once again rolled to run into the corner, and there's 2 wolves behind that wall that have nowhere to go. And then at the end of the round, that wall does not roll to vanish because it's brand new, but that one over there does on a 1 to a 4, and it's still there. And at the end of the round, we'll roll to see what monster shows up. We've got, that's a level 2, and second one down is a ghoul, and it's going to show up on side 10, which does put it over here on the Knights of the Round Table side. New round, rolling for initiative. We've got Sir Bedivere going first this time. So for Sir Bedivere, since he's within 3 inches of Sir Galahad, who I went ahead and stood up, he will run down here. Well, he'll activate with Sir Galahad, run right down here. And then he's wounded, so that's all he can do. Then Sir Galahad will activate and try to take out this Ice Toad. Alright, so Galahad's wounded and carrying treasure for a -3, but then he's supported for +2, so +2 overall against +2 for the Ice Toad. And alright, he got a successful roll there. That is 20 damage. That is a dead Ice Toad. So that finally takes out this Ice Toad and kind of frees them up. Sir Galahad can't go anywhere because he's wounded and can only make one action. Then for Celia's Apprentice phase, she's going to activate with this Marksman. The Marksman can make it off with this treasure, and Celia can make it off as well with a single move. For the Soldier phase, this MVP Minstrel is going to actually run out there and then run through that doorway over there. And he can move to right there on a single move, and he's done because he's wounded. So Frostgrave ends when either one team has no members on the board or all of the treasure tokens have been removed. Velius is kind of a mean player, and he would like to just keep figures on the board long enough to try to destroy Sir Galahad and stop them from getting that central treasure token off the board. But I think that would kind of turn into kind of a slog of a video to watch the end of. So the players have mutually agreed that if Velius removes his bear from the table, that King Arthur will not make an attempt to possibly get this treasure. There's a chance that you will actually pick up the treasures that no one is carrying if you're the last player with figures on the board. So with this agreement, Velius will have his bear leave the table, and this treasure will go unclaimed per their agreement, and then they will secure their centralized treasure token, and those two figures will survive this battle, as will the MVP Minstrel down there. In both of Velius's battles so far, they've only acquired 2 treasure tokens in each of the battles. However, in their last battle, one of those was a centralized treasure token, and they had no fallen soldiers in their last battle. But this battle was much different, with 6 of their figures being reduced to 0 health. So we'll go ahead and see how they did. We'll start with these thugs that are kind of meaningless, but with this first one, he's fine. The second one, he's fine. Their infantryman is dead. Their first ranger with the bat helmet is badly wounded. Their next one with the axe is also badly wounded. And for Velius, let's see how he does. 9, so he escapes without any harm or anything. But this could be expensive for them. Their 3 soldiers that actually cost something are all in bad shape. For experience points, Velius's team gets 40 participation points. They had 1 spell that failed that caused damage for 5. They had 11 spells they successfully cast for 110. They defeated 5 random monsters, a rat, 3 skeletons, and an ice spider for 25. And they collected 2 treasure tokens for 80 for a total of 260 experience points. And they've leveled up the Summon Demon spell to make it easier to cast and increase their health by 1. That battle left this team pretty battered and bruised. Luckily, Velius didn't suffer any permanent damage when he empowered that spell to the point of death. But for out-of-game spells, they have no out-of-game spells they can cast after a battle. And now we'll find out if all their troubles were worth it as we figure out what is in these 2 treasure tokens. Both of their previous reveal secret rolls at the start of the game were failures, so these are just standard rolls. They've got 2 rolls. They've got a 10 and a 16. A 10 is 40 gold crowns and a magic weapon or armor, and a 16 is 40 gold crowns and a grimoire. For their magic weapon or armor, a 15. A 15 is the new heavy armor of elemental absorption, which is, I think, the most expensive item on this table. If they want to, they could sell it for 300 gold crowns. We'll see what they end up doing. And for the grimoire they got, this will be going down, and this one will be going across. We got 2 and 20. 2 is the first column, and 20 all the way at the bottom is a grimoire of Circle of Protection. As far as buying and selling go, they went ahead and sold that armor of elemental absorption to give them 300 extra gold crowns to go with 80 other gold crowns they got for the battle, and 5 they had from the vault. They're going to spend all their money. They spent 115 to basically fire and rehire these 2 rangers that were wounded. They have upgraded this thug that escaped with the treasure to a ranger, and then they spend their last 50 gold crowns to get a infantryman. And I felt it was fitting that Velius the summoner have a cyclops that he has summoned, and so this will be their new warband going into the next battle with 0 gold crowns left. Well, there's not too many of the Knights of the Round Table left after that battle. They did secure 2 treasures, and they have potentially the Holy Grail over there. So we'll see how the fallen soldiers did. Starting with Patsy the Thief. He is badly wounded, which won't matter too much. The Rabbit of Carbonog is fine. The Black Beast of Arg is fine. Tim the Enchanter is fine. Sir Lancelot the Brave, falling for the 2nd battle in a row, is fine. And King Arthur, their wizard, 14, he's fine. So they lucked out pretty well there. So their team is still pretty much standing. Let's take a look at their experience points. So Arthur gets 40 participation points, 5 points for a failed spell that caused them damage, 90 for 9 successfully cast spells, 10 for 2 monsters defeated, an ice toad and a boar, and the boar also gives them 10 gold crowns due to having a bounty. Sir Galahad was able to crush that beehive, the summoning beehive, which granted them 40 extra experience points, and they took 2 treasures off the board for 80, for a total of 265 experience points. So they're going to use their experience points to increase their fight by +1 and to improve their chances of casting Possess, because that spell worked really well for them this last battle. And they actually have 105 experience points that they're going to bank, as their only grimoire is from a opposed school. So for their 2 treasures, since they got the centralized treasure token, they can choose to re-roll this if they want. This one is a 20. 20 is 120 gold crowns in a grimoire. They'll go ahead and keep that. And their other treasure token is a 14, which is just a plain grimoire. So for their 2 grimoires, for both of these, this will be the top and this will be down. So 12 and 1. 12 and 1 is Strike Dead, a necromancer spell. And 17 and 6. So that's the 4th column, and the 6th one down is Right Scroll. So that's a out-of-game sigillist spell, so that will actually probably be useful. So their treasure tokens got them 120 gold crowns, and that combines with 45 that they already had, 10 for defeating that boar. There's a bounty of 10 gold crowns for that, and 20 gold crowns for their brewery that they have. So they're going to use 90 of the gold crowns to upgrade the minstrel over here to a bard. It's at a discounted rate because they have their carrier pigeons or carrier African swallows. And the bard is found in the Thaw of the Lich Lord campaign. It's got fight +2, armor of 12, and 12 health. It carries a hand weapon, and they grant +1 will to any allies within 6 inches and line of sight. So his efforts in this battle and his successes have allowed them to upgrade him to an official bard. And that leaves them with 105 gold crowns in their vault, and they also have that grimoire of Right Scroll that they'll probably end up learning after their next battle. All the monsters that showed up on the table created some pretty harsh moments for these warbands. That white gorilla caused some significant damage, and the monsters that spawned late in the game on Velius' side forced him to make a risky sacrifice to try to get that treasure token off the board. For some successes that the warbands had, King Arthur's possessed rabbit took out 3 soldiers in 1 turn. Their minstrel did a pretty decent job trying to slow down Velius' treasure carrier, and they had that clutch grenade that prevented Velius from getting that extra treasure token off the board. For Velius, they had lots of leap spells that helped them move around, and they rolled some natural 20s when it really mattered. It's interesting though that their main strategy I'd planned for was for them to use Plague of Insects, and I don't think that they've cast that successfully in either of their two battles. I want to mention something about animal companion bears. I think they're possibly the strongest soldier in the game, but this battle pointed out two of their weaknesses. First, the Black Beast of Arg got taken out with just a single critical hit, which can take out, if it can take out a bear, it can take out just about anything in one hit. And their other big weakness is that they can't carry treasure, which was a huge letdown to Velius' team because they would have loved to pull that one treasure off the board. The bear hasn't activated, but it can't pick this treasure up, so it's just gonna kind of... My next battle will feature Frapuxino the Sigilist against Zygomor the Necromancer in the right hand and the left hand scenario. If you noticed any rules I got wrong that I didn't point out during the video, or if you have any questions about my gameplay, let me know in the comments below, as I want these videos to be accurate representations of how to play Frostgrave 2nd Edition. I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to click like, add a comment, or subscribe so you can keep up with all the content that I'm releasing. And with that, I'm Alan with Bricks and Blocks Gaming, and I'll see you on the next video.